So let's talk about the final Silent Night, Deadly Night film that has nothing to do with the first three films, just like Silent Night, Deadly Night 4 was. Um, this one, though, I'd say is just as bad as 3, 4, and 5. Well, honestly, just 3 or 4 and 5, I think, are pretty close to the same bad level. 3 is just atrocious. I couldn't believe how horrible that movie was and just how boring it was. But at least with 4 and 5, the fourth one at least had a cool idea of being something different than the first three. So I'm not harping on it for being different. I just wonder why it's called Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, this one. But the fourth one had witches and had like this weird cult kind of thing, and it was kind of creepy. It had some creepy moments, even though it was not a good movie. And then this one, The Toy Maker, is batshit, but it's so interesting in how bad it is because this movie is insane. Because the way that the movie is kind of taking the story of Pinocchio, but making it seem ridiculous and just out there, like in a weird way. For example, like in Pinocchio, in the book, in every iteration of Pinocchio, usually there's character Pinocchio, puppet, and Geppetto, the maker. And in this one, we have two humans. One played by Mickey Rooney, who's the maker, named Joe Petto. And a lot of the time, they don't even use the name Joe in the movie, so they just call him Petto, like a pedophile. Like that is the weirdest thing you could say to make this seem uber creepy and really, really messed up. Because why would you purposefully make that name that? Like that is the dumbest idea. Like calling somebody pedo, and they say it in such a way where it's said straight. Like for example, the mom character in this movie, the little kid, will say, "You want to go to Pedos and get a toy?" It's just like it doesn't sound right to say that at all, don't you think? It doesn't sound right. And the weird thing is that this is its own thing apart from the other ones, but it's got two characters from the last movie in it. The Kim character and the character who was the henchman. Um, and they both, at least the Kim character, who's the main character in the fourth one, mentioned something like, "Oh, I've had bad experiences with goings on around Christmas," or something like that, and that's what happened in the fourth one. So it's weird that like they're brought in into this, and like they're kind of main characters, but like they, besides her saying that line of dialogue that she's had some weird things happen, the other character, the henchman character from the last film, doesn't say anything, and he got stabbed at the end of the last movie. So are these characters just put in here but are not really related to the last film with the same names? That doesn't make any goddamn sense. And then I like how like in the fourth one, that the henchman character, I think is named Ricky, like Ricky from 2 and 3. So the Ricky character is back, but he got stabbed in the last one. So it's weird that like they bring up the Kim character's past, alluding maybe to the witch stuff in 4, but then in this one it's like the Ricky character has nothing. He got stabbed at that in the end of that movie, so why would he be there? I don't understand. It's like they had two different people, two different sides saying, "We're gonna try to connect this, but we're also not gonna try to connect this," and it didn't make any literal sense at all. And that's why the movie is so bad. It's just, besides the fact that the movie just isn't well made, I think that using stuff like that is just so stupid and asinine, and it makes no sense in the context of the story and context of the last movie. I don't get why they tried that, but there are a couple positives I can give this. Like this was a fun guilty pleasure. Like it wasn't good, but it had fun moments. I like the idea of killer toys. I think that's a fun idea to play around with, and I mean it's silly in its execution the way that they use these killer toys that Joe Petto makes. Um, but it's fun. Like there's like this centipede kind of toy that this guy is driving with, and like it goes through his eye and like comes out, and it's kind of gross and weird. And then there's like this couple having sex, and then all these toys come and start killing them in ways like shooting them with their toy guns with their real bullets, like stuff like that. It's over the top and silly, but it's really fun, and I thought that it really didn't it to me. Like, this is probably the third one I'd watch out of all of them if I rank them. Like, the first one, of course, is the best one. The second one is awful, but it's so hilariously awful that I can watch that over any of the other sequels. But then this would come after it, I think. This one would be the next one, because this does have funny moments, and it is so interestingly bad that I think that it's got something to watch for. Not like the third one where it's boring, god awful, and there's nothing that I can give to say that that movie is worth rewatching again. And the fourth one had cool ideas too, but I feel like this one is definitely the better one out of the sequels, definitely. Besides the second one, and also I gotta talk about the ending too. The ending is so crazy because um, Pino, who is Pinocchio, the uh, Joe Petto's toy that he makes, and the movie makes it to where he seems like he's human, but he talks weirdly like a robot, and you're thinking, well, we know what Pinocchio is, and if it's just Pino is Pinocchio, then obviously he's not real. And he's a killer robot. If by the end of the movie he goes on his rampage, and I guess that's what would make it more Silent Night, Deadly Night than the last one, in which you got a killer toy on Christmas, but like it's just so insanely over the top. And the actor who played Pino, it's hard to say these two names; they're so weird to say. But the actor who plays Pino in this movie is really weird and really like his performance is out there, like Mickey Rooney. So it was very out there in a weird way, and I liked just how batshit it was. The way by the end how he tried to kill the family, and like they got the best of him, but of course we get that horror nod at the end where like one of his other program robots is now alive, so that means that it's still gonna go on. But then this is the last film in the franchise, besides the Silent Night, technically remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night, but this is the last film in the first five films. It's not like after this the reboot sort of ish happens, but this is the last film that they made before that. And this has a cliffhanger which never is resolved, so I don't know. But the movie, I think the movie out of all of the sequels is I'd say it's the third film I'd watch after the first and the second one, just because it is entertaining. It does have silly bits in it. I like the idea of having killer toys be like it's fun because it's something that yeah has been done a lot of times before, but I just thought it was fun in how they executed it. But besides that, the execution for everything else was really terrible. And I liked how especially the ending. And I liked how the main kid in this movie, literally has no lines until like the end of the movie. And whenever he talks, it sounds like it doesn't come out of it's not the voice that would come out of his mouth. Like, it's so weird. Even though he does talk, it seems like that wouldn't be the voice you would think this kid would have. It's weird to say that. It really is, but it's just really out there and creeps me out. The movie itself is creepy, not in the ways that intended, just creepy with Pino, with the kid and the weird voice at the end, and like just how it's just an odd movie, and it's a direct-to-video movie, just like the third and fourth one. So I mean, I'm not looking for something overly fantastic or even fun, but this one was a little fun. It was a little entertaining. Like I said, Killer Toys idea was cool, even though it's been done a lot. But I think that that's fun, and I think that this was definitely not a bore, and definitely not one it was definitely one I'd watch again. Um, Definitely not the worst. I'd say the third best in the franchise, but I'm finally done with these films, so um, I'm glad I watched the last three films, even though for the majority of them they weren't good or at all. Like, but this one at least and the fourth one had cool ideas. So I'm glad that I watched the last three films in the franchise. So, but this one itself was just okay. It was an okay, dumb, mediocre time, but like it had some interesting things to it. It wasn't great, but it wasn't something that I expected it to be great. Um, but pretty much that's it for this one. There's not much else I could say about it. So thanks guys so much for watching. Check out my other videos. I talked about all 5 of them, or the other 4 of this franchise. So check out that if you're interested, and I'll talk to you next time.